What's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's Mr. Simpkins in the Simpkins Physics Corner again, here with your AP top secret update. It's not really top secret. It's just just that I'm paying as close attention as I can to everything that they're releasing. But there are some important things. So look at this slide. At any point during this presentation, I'm going to try to fly through it because I don't want to just bore you by reading things off of the screen. So at any point, if you want to pause and read all the text, you'll see there's some more slides, a lot more text. Feel free to do that. But here's the stuff you need to know. All right. First thing is we're going to have an opportunity to practice submitting our answers on May 4th. The presenter in the meeting I was in said, if it's not prohibited, you can do it. So I'll explain what that means in a second. The exam ticket procedures, in this presentation, I'll show you how to get your exam ticket or what you need to be ready for. You should only use Google Chrome as you're taking the exam, and there's actually text-only responses. So all that PowerPoint work that we did, fortunately, we didn't do a whole lot of it. You guys did really well. I was impressed with your slides. We don't need any of that because it's text only. But that means we can be selective about what we practice from between now and then, because they're not going to ask you to draw a graph because it's text only. All right, so let's go ahead and get through the information here. All right, May 4th, I will post a sample question, and you'll have the chance to upload your responses. Strike that up. This will probably actually happen on May 5th or 6th because I have to fart around with it, get my head around what's going on. But you'll be able to log in with your AP College Board account. You can go open the question, and you can do just like a practice run. So we're going to have you time yourself, upload your response in 5 minutes, all that good stuff, so that you kind of get the feel and iron out any technological kinks that you might need to do. All right, so this is all in the guide. Now, this, if they don't explicitly prohibit it, you can do it. So that's what the guy said. It's verbatim. I wrote it down because I was so struck by that. Basically, wherever you set yourself to test, you can set up that environment for whatever you need it to be. Now, in this, you'll see that they claim to have super top secret security, and basically they're like, we have the system that we're not going to tell you about, and if you cheat, we will find out. All right, don't cheat on the exam. That's dumb. But here's what is not cheating, okay? You may have, it's an open book exam. They said that in the presentation. You can read this in the College Board literature. You are allowed to use your notes, all right? That doesn't mean that you shouldn't study, because if you've ever taken an open note test and you don't know what you're doing, it's going to take you too long to find your stuff in your notes if you didn't practice ahead of time. So we still need to keep on the grind. We still need to be getting that physics in our brain 24/7. Well, what that means is I drew a little sample picture down here. Like if I were taking the exam, this would be me, or the smiley face. There I am. I'm smiling. I'm so happy to be taking the AP Physics exam. I'm happy because it's only 50 minutes and not 3 hours like it usually is. But here's what I would do. I would set up myself in a quiet room. If you're able to get a room to yourself with a desk, you got your laptop here. Put a timer. You can use your phone as a timer. That's fine. They even said you're allowed to search the web for stuff during the exam, but they just said if you do that, you're probably not going to have enough time to finish, which I would tend to agree with. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to have enough time to write a good response. But what I would do, and this is why I told you to make the conceptual outlines earlier this year, this in the next 2 weeks before the exam, I'm actually going to walk you through and force you guys to make a one-page only big ideas page for every unit. And the reason being is you should set these up, whether you want to have them in a notebook. I would probably like tape them to the wall, behind the desk when I'm taking the exam. This is all allowed. You're allowed to have your notes open. And so we're going to focus on making some concise conceptual outlines. So if I get a question about momentum, I can look up and be like, oh, momentum is always conserved. Or I'll have like inelastic and elastic and what that means. We're going to have the big ideas for each unit to have this as a quick, easy reference. All right. So making those little sheets will help you go back and relearn everything. But having those available during test time is going to be invaluable. You're allowed to do that. That's not prohibited. In fact, they said it's open notes, so you're allowed to use your notes. So we're going to maximize that advantage as much as we possibly can. Now, to get into the exam, you're going to get an exam ticket, and they said that you will get an email 2 days before the test. So make sure that you know what your email is that you signed up on the College Board website, so that you can look out for that. If you can't find it in the email 2 days before the test, don't panic. You can log into my AP Classroom, and it will be there linked to your account. You'll have a little entrance tickets there. Now, here's the deal. This is interesting. These are the times for the exam. You can find us right here, and we are the Eastern time, so that's going to be 4 o'clock on that Thursday. If for any reason you can't make that date, you literally just don't do it. All right, you just don't show up. And if you don't redeem your your AP ID that day for that exam, they will automatically just roll you over into the makeup exam days. All right, so there'll be the June dates, which I didn't copy in this presentation, but you can find them on the College Board website. All right, so don't panic if something comes up. I mean, I don't know where you're going to go, but if something comes up and you're not able to attend the 4 p.m. exam, that is fine. They will just move you to the June date automatically, and they'll send you another ticket 2 days before the June date. All right. Now, this would be a good spot to pause and read over this if you want to. But at the bottom, it says a cornucopia of opportunities to show what you know. That's literally what the guy said. I was cracking up writing some of these things down. What that means is, and I've told you this all year, but you don't have to finish the entire problem all the way right, even to get a 5 or a 4 or whatever. Your goal when you're taking this exam is to get the most correct physics in your answer, as you can. So even if you have to completely skip the first half of the problem, if you knock it out of the park the second half of the problem, you can still pick up a lot of points. So they said that they're structuring these questions so that you'll have the most opportunity to show what you know. And because our answers can only be text only, I'll get into a little bit about what I think that means, and we'll be discussing that through the next 2 weeks here. Now, this is really funny. If I feel like you should have gotten a 3 or higher, then I can appeal the process. So they're being very flexible with the scores. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try. Again, we want to just destroy this exam and totally just get a 4 or a 5 in the first place, if possible, of course. But if you get like a 2 and you're like, yo, I did some really solid physics there, or if I see that you've been nailing it all year and you get a much lower score than you expected, there's an appeals process that they'll release later. So just an FYI on that one. They said as far as taking the exam, you should not use Internet Explorer. So I don't know who uses that anymore. All right. Now Google Chrome, of course, College Board, they love data mining, so I'm sure Google's working with them on that. But you do have to use Google Chrome, or at least that's the one that's recommended for the browser. So you probably can't use any incognito browsers or anything like that. So just use Google Chrome. They said that will work the best, so you won't have any glitches when you're in the exam taking it. Now, as far as submitting your response, this is important. Answers will be entirely in text. So I believe it might have been on the previous slide or two. Maybe it's on the next one here. There it is. These are the acceptable file formats. All right. So if you have a Mac, just use your school computer. Don't use a Mac. You can use a Word doc. All right. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be in Microsoft Word, and somebody asked during this session, does that mean there's no graphs, or students won't have to draw graphs? And they said yes, the students will not have to draw a graph. So we're throwing drawing diagrams and graphs completely out. That's interesting to me, but that's what they said it should be. So your answers will be entirely in text, which informs us about where we should focus our efforts in studying. Let's see. You're going to need 1 document per question. So right here it says exam day setup, and even before the exam, what we're going to do is you guys should save 2 blank Word documents. The first one should say, AP exam question 1 physics, AP physics exam question 2 with maybe your initials or something, and you're going to save those 2 blank documents on your desktop so that the day of the exam you click it, open it, and it's right there. You know exactly where it is. Let's see. If your computer crashes, you can read this and pause it and see what I mean by that. You will be able to request a makeup exam. So let's say I don't want you guys to have a panic attack and pass out if you're halfway through your question and there's a lightning storm and the internet goes out, or your little brother's playing Fortnite and totally sucking up bandwidth, and you can't get your answers submitted in time. If any issues arise technologically, or if you have any technological issues, you can request a makeup exam. So if you find yourself after the exam in a position to do that, please just contact me first. I can kind of coach you through that process a little bit. All right. Let's see here. This is what to do before the exam. So you can see your contact information. We've already done that because I had you log into the system. Make sure you're ready to go with your technology. We're going to do some practice responses after May 4th, get everything that you need. So all your conceptual outlines, your equation sheet, your calculator, which you probably won't need a calculator. It's going to be very idea and explanation based. And then you'll get your exam credentials a little bit later on. Again, I'm flying through this. Feel free to hit pause at any time to slow down a little bit. Let's see. We talked about this a little bit. Save 2 files to your desktop before you begin. So we covered that. Cool. Let's see. The only thing that you're going to need extraneously, at least from the College Board, is the formulas on the front and the table on the back, and you're allowed to use a calculator. Again, I find that I'm guessing that you have very little use for a calculator during this exam. Okay, so this is their thing where they said, hey, yeah, you can go ahead and search the web if you want, but you're going to be burning time doing it. And also, don't copy and paste things from the internet, which would be real dumb. None of you are that dumb, so I don't have to worry about that. Let's see. This is getting your e-ticket. You're going to get those. We already know the format of the exam. Just a little side note, they said that their interface allows for you to hit submit, and you might not get like, okay, file submitted if you have slower internet, but they just claim that they designed it so that your file can upload in the background when question 2 begins. So I don't know what that looks like yet, but that, they said that is the case. Now, here's the big idea. Some of you really want to get all of it right. I understand, okay? But you have to pay attention to the clock, okay? Because if you don't get it uploaded in those 5 minutes, then you get zero. You get zero. Okay, so if you do the response, you have exactly 5 minutes to get it in, and do not wait till 4:30. Don't try to like sneak in your response. At the end of that, you got to get that thing in. So it's better to submit something that's mostly done or mostly right than nothing at all, because it will time you out, and you will not get anything, any points awarded for that. So this is fun to read. Just they said we have secret technology that will allow us to detect any cheating, which I highly doubt. But we're not going to be cheating on the AP exam. That would be stupid. All right. So let's see. These were some of the questions that people submitted. We did comment here that you will not need to be making a graph because it's text only. If you want to pause the video here and read those, that's fine. But this is, let's see, you don't need to finish the whole question. You do have to submit your response in time. I already went over that, so that's good. If you feel at the end of the exam that you had a temporary disruption, so say like you reloaded the page by accident and it totally kicked you back or whatever, then you can request a makeup date after that. Let's see, that's good. And for the demonstration questions or the demo questions, you're just going to have a fake AP ID. All right, so good. I covered everything. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. The biggest thing I learned was that it's a text-only response. So that means that we don't. Oh, that's another document for you guys. That means that that's coming. That means that we don't have to worry about using PowerPoint to submit our responses. So if you're a little shaky on how to draw diagrams and stuff, not to worry, everything will be in text. Tomorrow we're going to have some Zoom sessions. You should see the invites going up to Canvas pretty soon here. But we're going to have some Zoom sessions to talk about what does that mean. I have an inkling as to which units they're going to be assessing with the highest probability there. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But the big takeaways for this are those things that were in the first slide, which apparently has disappeared since I last did it, so that's fun. But this is Mr. Simpkins. I will catch you guys tomorrow on the Zoom call and field any questions. At this point, you should have done all the kinematics, all the dynamics, all the UCM gravity, Albert questions. And when I say all of them, I don't mean you have to do every single one, but you should be working your way pretty heftily through those units as means of review. And I'll catch you tomorrow. Have a good evening. Don't blow away. It's like 30-mile-an-hour winds out there.